back to the Sci Squad podcast. It's week 9 and the trade deadline is passed.
And that's about all we can say about it.
It's the most important day in America.
It is.
And nothing happened. Trade deadline. So, might as well get right into it. We'd like to send out a thank you, and you had a great career to Anderson Silva, who is retiring after a hell of a career in the MMA UFC world. Just couldn't quite get the job done. He's not dead. He's just, has to retire because Dana White said that he will never, ever let him fight again in the UFC. But great career. McGregor Poirier fight is officially on the schedule for December, I believe.
Oh, let's go.
He's fighting again?
Yeah.
Every match? He's like, no, I'm done now. No more.
Yep, every single one. Actually, it'll be January 23rd.
Oh, okay.
But McGregor wanted it December 20-something. But, McGregor doesn't always get his way.
I was just going to say that's what he wants, but that's probably not what they're going to do.
Yeah. But that's all for UFC news. Not really any basketball news except for that the 76ers are pursuing James Harden. And
I saw that.
And that Giannis the Bucks are getting offers from Miami and from Golden State for Giannis.
I also saw the Golden State. They're getting a payday. They said they have a very good package set up for the Bucks, apparently.
Miami has Tyler Hero in that package.
Ooh.
So that could be interesting.
Could be.
But it's all for NBA news, but let's get to the real sport here. True. Football.
Woo.
It was a trade deadline today, and it was probably the quietest trade deadline I remember in a while.
Yeah, no big trades, no blockbusters, no nothing. I think there was a couple really small trades. I think the Dolphins sent like a 7th-round receiver to the Patriots or something, and I think that's about it.
Yeah, and the Dolphins did something with the Chiefs too for a backup running back.
Oh yeah,
I'm just kidding.
Somebody, not Williams, not Damian Williams, but the other Williams on their team.
Yeah.
Huh.
So there's that.
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird with this year's trade deadline. There's a couple of players that, were kind of swirling around or whatever. I feel like some of the asking prices for a lot of those players were unrealistic. So it's just one of those things where it's like just teams couldn't get deals done because it's just like, okay, let's actually have realistic standards here. Like Stephon Gilmore, in my opinion, how he's playing right now is not worth the first rounder, just if I'm being 100% honest.
Right.
I think it's too early to move on.
And I think that was... Yeah.
I would say trade him next year. Excuse me. Once like the draft, everything unfolds, and then you kind of see the teams that are desperate for quarterbacks, and then you can reach and all that stuff. JJ Watt's got a big contract now. He would be nice on like a Super Bowl contender. Like had Seattle gotten him, that would have been interesting. But a lot of money to have, and just aging, and that's for me. That's not so much the issue. It's more of the cap situation. I feel for a lot of these teams.
Right.
Because obviously, if you're a Super Bowl contender and you have the chance to get J.J. Watt, you get J.J. Watt.
Well, you'd think, but I mean, I'm surprised to see. Other big news: the Niners, because the Niners traded Quan Alexander.
I saw that.
And they lost Jimmy G and George Kittle for at least 6 to 8 weeks.
Yeah, they're done. Niners are out of it.
So the NFC West just became a 2-man race.
It's still a 3-man race.
Sure. Tell that to Jared Goff.
Oh, he'll be fine. We had the we had a short week, and we had to travel literally across the country.
But hey, Tua almost had 100 passing yards against you.
Yeah, he didn't look great.
Hey, Tua did what Tua needed to do.
I mean, it looked like a very limited play calling, which is fine because you just gotta have him get a feel for everything and all that stuff. I think he'll get better. It's just you're just gonna have to start opening up the playbook for him a little bit more.
Right.
He met Aaron Donald though.
What's that?
He got to meet Aaron Donald.
He did get to meet Aaron Donald on the very first play.
I'm so happy for that.
Me too.
Went downhill very quick after that.
I said Aaron Donald's going to love to meet Tua.
Yeah.
Like I said, he did not wait long to meet him.
No. But hey, I think that just shows that Aaron Donald is still the best defensive player in football.
I think he's the best player in football.
Player,
period. I think he's the best player in football.
Am I going to throw some screens to him or something?
Well, here's my thing. The gap between Aaron Donald and the second best player's position is gargantuan. As opposed to Patrick Mahomes. Now, I think we can all agree Patrick Mahomes is probably the best QB in the NFL, but there are days where Russell Wilson's better. There are days that Aaron Rodgers is better. Like the talent between Mahomes and everyone else isn't as big as people think. The gap between Donald and everybody else is gargantuan. And Aaron Donald is the most, in fact, impactful player in the NFL that isn't a quarterback.
Right.
But, yeah. But we still lost, and all in all, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's fair.
All right, we got the bye week. Bring on Seattle next week.
Got the bye and then lose to Seattle.
Well, I don't know. Give us the bye week and we'll see what happens. Like I said, we were on a short week. We had to travel all the way across the country, and we had the early slot. We just looked out of sync offensively, and I could just tell.
Hey, it is what it is.
We lost realistically because of like 2 plays.
That's all it takes sometimes, though. I mean,
and this is a factual statement.
But I do have a question for you guys. Would Ryan Fitzpatrick have done better?
Well, okay, I guess in a sense, yes, because my theory is that they limited the playbook for Tua. They just wanted him to get comfortable. So I guess in a sense, yes.
Yes.
But I don't think it's like, I don't know. It's weird.
I think Ryan Fitzpatrick would have done significantly better against the Rams. I mean, if you look at Tua, just at 50% completions, his leading rusher and receiver was both Myles Gaskin. So, I mean, I think Fitzpatrick would have done a better job throwing to the receivers. I think he probably would have had more than 12 completed passes, and I think Miami would have been able to score even more points.
Well, that's just it, because like the thing is like the game, because we lost it was 28-17. You take away the punt return, you take away the fumble that we lost, and Miami offensively couldn't really get anything going. Now that being said, Rams defense is nothing to be slept on. The Rams defense, I think, is actually really, really good. So it would have been interesting in that dynamic, but I don't know. I also think well, the thing is too, is I think the Rams would have had a proper game plan for Ryan Fitzpatrick, because they didn't know what they were going to get with, obviously with Tua, because they just don't have film on him. He hasn't played yet. So I think that played a little bit of a factor as well. So I think it really would have been kind of a same outcome sort of thing, but we'll never know.
Fair. His brother did play better than Tua, though. He's looking pretty good. I mean, it is against Minnesota. It was an unexpected win, but it was a win.
Well, he played fine. I will give him that. He struggled a lot in the second half. He was awful in his first game. I'm not going to go all in on Tua's brother yet. If he does that against Ohio State or Michigan, then we can talk.
Let's hope he does.
Isn't he like a freshman?
I hope he does too, not going to lie.
I think he's a sophomore.
He is a sophomore.
Because he was on Tua's team last year, actually.
Right, and then he transferred to Maryland, of all places. Now, like I said, obviously there was promise there. Like, I'm not saying he's, like, bad. I'm just not ready to, like, talk it, like, saying Tua's brother is the next big thing when we have such a small sample size, and it was against Minnesota, who lost a significant amount of defensive starters from last year.
That's fair. Move on. Since we're talking about games, the Falcons played spoiler in the game against the Panthers. Of course, the tropical storm Zeta and the rain and the wind played a huge factor in the second half of that game. But the Falcons finally didn't blow a lead.
They did not. The Falcons actually looked pretty good. You know, it only
took them 8 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting with Atlanta because, like, we can't deny that they have offensive firepower. It's just, I don't know, Atlanta's just in a weird spot because it's like on one end, it's like, dang, they could play spoiler every single week. They really could. They're talented enough to do it. They just well, first off, defensively, they're terrible defensively. So that's kind of their first issue right there. But it just seems with Matt Ryan, it's just in big time games against defenses, he's getting a little more flustered. They're getting to the offensive line a little bit more. So I just don't know what to think of Atlanta. I think they're a lot better than what their record shows because they should have at least 2 more wins under their belt. Like, that's a guarantee.
Mm-hmm.
Never trust them.
Yeah, that's true. Never trust them. Kansas City beat the Jets.
Yes, as predicted.
Jets tried.
They put a football team on the field.
I guess.
That's about all I can say.
So there's that. It's going to be interesting this week to see the Jets face a little bit worse of a team because, I mean, the Jets didn't play horrible against the Chiefs.
Yes, they did.
I mean,
they got
for Jets standards, though, not really.
Well,
it was rough.
It was bad. They're bad.
We got to be hyping the Jets up right now.
I'm not going to.
Jets gonna win this, though. Jets getting the dub.
There we go. That's all I wanted.
Jets, Jets.
Yeah.
I know we got them in our pick'ems because it's Monday night, but all I'm gonna say is the Patriots are gonna hit rock bottom.
I could see it happening.
I easily could. Offensively, they have like no firepower. Their best defensive player is clearly losing all of his luster. It's just not the same Patriots team. And
that's fair, and we didn't expect it.
Brady is easily winning this divorce. Easily.
Yeah. Yeah, but the Patriots still almost beat the the Bills this week. So I mean,
who almost beat the Bills?
The Patriots.
I mean, yeah, they did. But I also think that's a Bills team that I think has lost a lot of their hype. Since starting 4-0.
Yeah.
Since the Titans game, they just haven't been the same team.
No, and Josh Allen hasn't been playing at that MVP level anymore.
No, he's just average now.
Yeah, I'm kind of out on the Bills at this point.
Yeah, I do not buy him as a Super Bowl team anymore. I never did
Still
actually.
The division, though.
But
they are still going to. Well,
holy shit!
Yeah, I don't want to know about it, Noah.
I'm sorry. No, I'm very surprised. Can I say it?
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, no, so ladies and gentlemen, I am a resident of Minnesota. Minnesota has been a blue state for as long as I can remember. As recording this is election day, Minnesota's actually Trump is kind of dominating Minnesota right now. It's very bizarre.
Only 1% is reporting in Minnesota, and none of that's Minneapolis.
Oh, I did not know that. I just saw it on the screen. So
Yeah, as of right now, it's been about 9,000 votes, and yes, Trump's winning 3,100 to 3,700.
oh, see, I didn't see that. It just says that he's leading Minnesota. They don't have the map up. So
He's winning Winona.
good for Winona. Winona. Fucking Winona.
That's about it. But you might hear some more about the election, but that's just because the election is going on, and it's a big deal. And we hope you went out and voted today.
Of course.
Either way, as long as you still listen to us, we support you.
Facts.
Maybe. Colts beat the Lions. So,
Yeah.
I mean, hey. Colts are looking a lot better than they started the season off against the Jags, though.
Colts are like a legit quarterback away.
Yeah. Maybe if they
I have a fun theory about the Colts.
All right.
So, I talked about this in our group chat, but I just want to reiterate it. Let's say the Cowboys decide to just go in and tank, because I think that's a realistic possibility that they just decide to tank.
Right.
And they don't bring back Dak Prescott. If you're the Colts, who have like the third highest salary cap going into this year, you're not paying any of your star players right now. Your defense is already really good. You have an elite head coach, or at least a very solid head coach. Why not get Dak Prescott with that offensive line? And I'm not saying you have to do this because it's not as necessary, but one thing I know about this player, he needs structure, and the Colts bring that. If you want to add that finishing touch to your offense, trade for OBJ. It's a risk, but a risk I think that could pay off for the Colts.
That's fair. And you can go relook at Minnesota real quick.
I think if the Colts just got Dak Prescott, I think they would be a Super Bowl contender.
Oh, I
agree.
Obviously, OBJ would be an
OBJ is just more to add that finishing touch, to kind of add that down the field threat for Dak Prescott, because I don't think they really have that. Like, they have really talented receivers. I don't think they have that one like go-to guy. And the one thing I know about OBJ is he needs structure in his life, including with the football teams he plays for. That's why the Giants was rough in his last couple of years, because they were a dysfunctional mess. That's why he's not loving it in Cleveland, because they're a dysfunctional mess. I think the Colts have the structure. They have the winning mentality right now. And I think they have a really good head coach where they'll just let OBJ do his thing, and a change of scenery, and winning cures a lot of things. So I think that would be a really good landing spot for Odell Beckham Jr. Now, I agree with you. That's not like a necessity, but if you just really want that like finishing touch on your offense, I think OBJ would be a really interesting move for the Colts.
Oh no, I think the Colts this year, they'll make a run. I don't think they'll get far, but I think they'll definitely go on a run.
Yeah, I can see it. Heck, they could still win this division.
I think they will.
I feel like the Colts they're gonna make the playoffs, but they're gonna get bounced in the first round by a good team. They're gonna get put against KC in the first round or something. They're gonna get bounced.
Well, like I said, or they could win the division and have to play a wild card team. It'll be interesting.
Well, I think the Titans can still win this division.
Oh no, I still think the Titans will, but now with that loss to Cincinnati, it gets a whole lot more interesting.
That is true.
A lot less wiggle room for the Titans, and considering they both still have to play each other twice.
Yeah. But speaking of the Titans, Joe Burrow lit it up on them.
Yeah, so
on Sunday.
I was so happy for Joe Burrow. He deserves everything. Joe Burrow is the real deal.
For sure.
Like, he is straight up the real deal.
We got this in the bag because Texas and Florida are neck and neck. Actually, Trump's up by 4 on Florida.
Yeah, Trump's going to win Florida.
He's going to get Texas because it's neck and neck, and Georgia. Telling you. Texas is close. It's because all those liberal bums that are unemployed vote at 8 a.m.
Damn.
And so now all the Republicans who got off work at 5 come in and vote. So guess whose vote gets counted last? The Republicans.
Damn. In case you guys didn't know, that was my roommate, John Todd.
So now you know why it shifted a little bit.
Right.
Also, the Vikings beat the almighty Packers on Sunday night. And a little bit of a big surprise.
Dalvin Cook beat the Packers on Sunday, not the Vikings.
Okay, we can accept that. We can accept that.
Yeah, we're just recording.
The refs also did beat the Packers, though.
That Tunyon call was bullshit. All right.
Ugly ass foot is that?
Here, question. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
You can? I can't.
I'm so sorry.
Can you guys hear me now?
I'm sorry.
Yeah, we can hear you answer your feet.
Maybe I was in the other room. I'm sorry. You're really though.
Why is my thing is I'm not on speaker. I can't hear you guys. I can't hear you guys, but just know I agree with every take you guys are making.
Okay. Joe Biden's going to win the election. Okay. So the Steelers beat the Ravens.
Yeah, it was kind of an ugly game for Lamar. He had 4 turnovers.
Yeah. And what's crazy is how many rushing yards that the Ravens had during that game. 265 rushing yards. And still lose. That was really insane. But I think it was more insane to see that the Steelers defense let up that many rushing yards.
I am, but I'm not, because I think Pittsburgh, since losing Devin Bush, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think since they lost them, I think that's playing a toll into their running game. But they still forced they still had a really good game plan for Lamar Jackson. And they have enough playmakers on that team that, that makes Pittsburgh, or that makes other teams uncomfortable. Pittsburgh, I think Pittsburgh is a very good team. Do I think they're the team to beat in the AFC? I don't. I still think that has to go to your boys in Kansas City. But Baltimore, I'm done. I am out on Lamar Jackson. I'm sorry, but I am not. He is not a top 10 quarterback in the NFL. He's talented, but he is just outside my top 10 now. I am not all in on big trusts.
I saw an interesting fact the other day. So the last time the last undefeated team won the Super Bowl, so the Steelers being the last undefeated team this year, obviously, the last time that the last undefeated team won the Super Bowl was 2006, and it was the Colts.
Interesting. One other thing to note from that game, though, is that Hollywood Brown seemed to be upset with Lamar after not really getting targeted much in the past couple games.
Yeah, I actually saw a funny thing on Twitter that was a highlight reel of Lamar fucking overthrowing Hollywood Brown and completely missing him. I don't know why. He still seems like the best receiver on that team. I don't know why they're not feeding him more.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Is it just Lamar not passing it a lot? I know he didn't throw that many passes in the Steelers game.
I know that's part of it, but I don't know why. Because he likes to throw to his tight ends.
Yeah.
But I don't know why he doesn't like throwing to Hollywood. But Hollywood has a great point, and he can't do nothing if he doesn't get the chance. So, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I was trying to actually pull up what Lamar's stats were from this last game. Do you see how many passes he can? 1 second. Yeah, he only completed 13 passes all game, which is probably why Hollywood Brown. Actually, Lamar's only completed 20 passes once this year. Every game has been less than 20 pass completions.
That's insane, but that also kind of shows you why people were out on Lamar so early.
Well, yeah, that's true. And the only game he completed more than 20 passes was their 38-6 win in Week 1 against Cleveland Browns.
So, I mean, when you're up there, of course you're going to, if you're healthily beating somebody, you're going to feel comfortable doing it.
And it looks like, according to this, Lamar only has 3 games this year where he is over a 100 passer rating, and that's Cleveland, Houston, and Washington against Washington.
That is interesting. Do you think that going on, people have just been able to deal with Lamar better, or do you think that his passing is actually that bad?
Well, I think a lot of it is...
He just hasn't needed it.
I think a lot of it is that, one, it's been... Last year, Lamar was like, all right, nobody's seen it before. This is all brand new coming out. He really broke out last year, and people can go back and they see the tape and they see how to get him. They know now how to like get him off his rhythm, and once they can shut down him running the ball, he kind of freezes. And I remember when we were discussing Lamar Jackson way back last year, when we were talking about, Brendan was kept calling him a running back and all that kind of stuff. I said I was worried he's going to have a career like RG3, because RG3 came out phenomenal rookie year.
Right.
Offensive Rookie of the Year. I don't think he won MVP, but he was amazing right off the bat. And then teams started to figure out how to beat him, and obviously the injury was the real reason his career derailed. But once teams figured out how to disrupt him and get him, make it so he's not confident, he kind of falls apart.
Mm-hmm. That's true. And do you think that's something that can be fixed, or do you think it's just how Lamar's going to end up?
No, I think it can be fixed. Lamar, he just needs to become more confident himself. I think, I don't know if he needs to work more with his receivers, or if they really need a second, like, really star player on that team. Because I know they have Hollywood Brown is good, Mark Andrews is good, and they just drafted J.K. Dobbins, but they really don't have another, like, elite player on their offense.
Right.
I definitely don't think it helped that Ron Staley, their tackle, is not going to be out for the year.
Yeah, that makes it a lot harder for Lamar, I guess. But I don't know. Do you think that the Ravens, with Lamar kind of being an issue to get them to the next level, do you think they'll still be able to make it far in the playoffs? Do you think it's going to be the same thing that happened last year, where they're just going to get bounced?
I feel like this year is going to be a lot like last year. I think they can make it to the next step of Lamar. They need to build a team around him, though. They need to go out and get another superstar athlete. They need to make sure that there's no holes in their line. I think they'll make the playoffs this year, and they probably will be bounced relatively early, but I think they can win the Super Bowl with Lamar.
I don't know. I'm not sure that they can win it with Lamar. I don't think Lamar is a Super Bowl quarterback at this point.
Lamar might not be necessarily a Super Bowl quarterback, but times in the past have shown us you really don't necessarily need a Super Bowl quarterback. I mean, look at Manning's performance a couple of years ago.
That's true. That was all defense.
Manning. If you build a good team around Lamar Jackson, he will win the Super Bowl. But you need a really good defense, which I think the Ravens have a pretty decent defense, and you need a couple superstars around him.
That's completely fair.
Do you want to go into the Saints-Bears game?
Sure.
That went to overtime, and yet again, the Bears offense has stalled out and is the reason why this team is losing, and I love every second of it.
I wouldn't say I love it. I wish that Nagy and Foles would get on the same page, because I feel like that's part of their issues offensively. Because Foles can be an okay quarterback. It's just, I don't think that Nagy's bought in fully with Foles. And the only way you have Foles doing well is if you're bought in on him. But, I mean, it also shows, though, on the other side, that the Saints aren't all that great without Michael Thomas. yes, Alvin Kamara is going to have great games, but if you take Alvin Kamara away, I don't think that team's that decent.
Well, yeah, they were essentially missing their top three receivers because they're missing Michael Thomas, Emmanuel Sanders, and I don't know, I can't remember that guy's name. But they were missing a lot of the receivers going into this game. I think if Michael Thomas ever decides to be healthy again and then get Emmanuel Sanders back, I think this team can be competitive. But Alvin Kamara can't do everything. Like he's putting his back on his team. He's giving Drew Brees a piggyback ride right now. But they need more help if they're going to be competitive against good teams.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Who do you?
Did you know what?
Sorry.
Where did you go?
Yeah, right before we started talking about the Saints, he disappeared.
Huh.
So I'm wondering if he's going to rejoin or what's going on there. But I think it could be just that John came into the room. And maybe John just kept talking after Noah muted himself and he couldn't figure out how to undo it, and so he left.
Yeah, I don't know. Hopefully he'll be back.
I don't know. We'll see what happens. Seattle beat the Niners in a great one.
Yeah, I actually didn't really catch any of this game, but I know it was a high-scoring game.
Yeah, Seattle looked good throughout the whole game, but the Niners kind of had a splurge during the third quarter that kind of pushed them to get close, and then George Kittle went out, and then Jimmy Garoppolo went out, and then Seattle kind of ran away with it.
Yeah, Nick Mullins had a good game, though. 18 for 25, 238, and 2 touchdowns. That's really good.
Yeah. Nick Mullins, he's going to be their quarterback for the next 8 weeks. So, I mean, he might win himself a starting job if he can play like that against normal defenses.
Damn. Well, we'll see how Nick Mullins does against the Packers defense on Thursday.
That will be interesting. Packers are coming up against a team who doesn't have running backs, so
I know I'm hyped. No Raheem Mostert this time. Raheem Mostert's not gonna get 300 yards on us again.
Tevin Coleman's out.
Tevin Coleman. It's gonna be Jay Hasty. Was it Jermichael Hasty?
Yeah.
It's gonna be Jermichael Hasty. Packers will be missing all of our running backs though. No Aaron Jones, no Jamal
Aaron
Lewis.
Jones was questionable because he wasn't considered close contact.
Well, they're very they said that they're pessimistic though about his injury that he's going to play this week. They're probably going to downgrade him to doubtful, honestly, because they're going to want him in the long term. So
That's
we're going to have no Jamal Williams, no AJ Dillon, no Aaron Jones. Probably, I mean, he might play. I don't know. So it's going to be Dexter Williams, who we just signed off for practice squad, and Tyler Irvin.
Nice.
But we're also going to be without Kamal Martin, our starting linebacker, because he was close contact.
Oof.
Yeah.
How much do you think that's... Oh, sorry. How much do you think that's going to affect the game?
Well, I expect Aaron Rodgers to throw a lot of passes, but yeah. I don't think it's... I really hope David Bakhtiari plays, because if we need to protect Aaron Rodgers in this game, because if Aaron Rodgers doesn't get sacked a bunch and doesn't get pressured a lot, he'll be fine. He can outthrow Nick Mullins. I'm not that worried about that.
Right.
Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Adams is better than Nick Mullins or Brandon Ayuk. But it's gonna be.
I hope so.
It's gonna be whether the Packers defense can sack Nick Mullins more than the Niners defense can sack Aaron Rodgers, and that's what's going to be the deciding factor in the game.
Hopefully, the Packers win it.
I think they should. I mean, I know we have not had a good track record against them recently, but they're missing all their offensive starters and a good chunk of their defense, both starting defensive ends. They're starting running back, tight end, basically this best receiver, and their quarterback. So fingers crossed.
They tend to play better without anybody.
Yeah, I don't know.
Weird. I don't know.
I still rather play against Nick Mullins than Jimmy G, though.
I don't know. Nick Mullins has seemed to play better this year. There's a good argument going into the offseason. Nick Mullins, Jimmy G, who do you want? It's a toss-up for me. Russ, I think, solidified his MVP status.
He's definitely
the starter. And DK Metcalf, man, is that guy good. I think he's going to be by the end of his career, if he can stay healthy, I think he's going to be a top 10 receiver that we talked about, like, ever.
Oh, well, I think, especially right now, DK Metcalf is slowly emerging as one of the best receivers in the NFL. And I think even by the end of this year, going into next year, you could put him as a top 10 receiver easily.
Yeah, I'm putting him there now, actually. But
yeah, I think you can make the argument this year, especially with the amount of injuries and COVID and all this stuff. I think, especially this year, he's a top 10 receiver. I think if he can stay with his connection with Russell Wilson, he kind of got lucky that he got Russell Wilson as his quarterback.
That is true.
I think they're going to be a good connection for a long time, though.
Yeah, especially because Seattle has no thoughts of ever getting rid of Russ. And from Seattle's track record with receivers, they keep good receivers. And so I think that for the next 5 to 10 years, it could be a Seattle scary offense for a whole decade. But we'll see.
Yeah, I'm not really looking forward to it, but
I mean, I like Russell Wilson. I like DK Metcalf, so I'm okay with it, I guess.
I guess I like it when Russell Wilson beats up on the Broncos.
Moving on to my favorite game this week. It started out rough. Broncos went down 21-3.
Yeah, I was a little sad. This game made me a little sad.
But the Broncos came back in a last-second touchdown to KJ Hamler. Had the Broncos winning. So the first half, Drew Lock looked like shit. The offense was making crazy calls. Drew Lock didn't seem comfortable. The defense wasn't playing well. Nothing was locked in. They were playing very loose. It was horrible. But they come back from the locker room and they turned it on. And then Justin Herbert had a not very good game from there. And Philip Lindsay stepped up. Shelby Harris is emerging as one of the superstars in Denver. I know, especially with his pass deflections. I think he leads the league at the moment. And so the Broncos got the win, and we're 3-4, and, we're not going to be the last in the division this year, and everything's looking up. And yeah, the Chargers blew another lead. Justin Herbert played okay. So, I mean, it's all good.
If Justin Herbert was on a good team.
Right. He looked so good in the first 3 quarters of that game. I think if Justin Herbert would have started the season off and then Joe Burrow, obviously he did start, I think Justin Herbert would probably be leading that Rookie of the Year race. I just think that Joe Burrow has it just because he started early and he consistently keeps getting better week by week. And Justin Herbert just kind of stayed up the whole time.
Yeah, I think as the season progresses and we get more games of Herbert and Burrow, I think it'll become closer. I still believe Herbert can win Rookie of the Year. I still believe it.
Really?
The Chargers need to win some games, though. And I know that's a lot. I know the Bengals need to as well, but Chargers need to not be the Chargers for a little bit. Forget you're the Chargers. Win a couple games. Give Herbert the award. I'd be happy though if I was a Chargers, or I'd be happy if I was a Chargers or a Bengals fan though. Into the future, looking up for both those teams.
Yeah, that's true. What else happened this week? Ben DiNucci got his 1 week of fame.
Ben DiNucci
Played better than Carson Wentz, gets benched.
Yeah, it's gonna be Cooper Rush next week.
Yeah, and the crazy thing is that Ben DiNucci is from Pittsburgh. He's always wanted to play against Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I saw it.
And so they bench him.
So the Steelers defense in DraftKings is the most valuable defense in the site's history. It costs the most to get the Steelers defense.
That is impressive.
Yeah.
The Steelers defense, though, I mean, they're looking like Steelers defense, like, of the past, like, just amazing god tier.
Oh yeah, now they get Cooper Rush and Ben DiNucci.
Yeah, they do have. I mean, when you play the Browns, granted the Browns have played better this year. When you play the Browns and the Bengals twice a year, kind of do look a little better.
That is true.
Welcome back, Noah.
Yeah, my phone died, and I think Apple is messing with my iPhone because I can't like actually physically charge it. So it's like, ooh, that's a bummer. They're just forcing me to get the 12.
Because you bought an iPhone.
I know, but iPhones are so nice. But I'm on my laptop now, so we're chilling.
Nice.
So what are we talking about, guys?
Oh, we were just talking about Ben DiNucci.
Ben DiNucci. Ass cheeks, my guy.
What?
You play better than Wentz.
Ben DiNucci was so bad.
He played better than Carson Wentz.
Oh, hell no, he didn't. Oh, my God, no.
Ben DiNucci didn't throw any interceptions.
He didn't, but that's because he barely had to throw any passes. It's easy to not throw interceptions when you throw dump passes. Did you see his accuracy? Oh, my God, he was terrible. Carson Wentz was at least throwing the ball downfield.
To the other team. Twice.
Yeah, right, and he was. So he had 2 interceptions and 2 touchdowns, and the only 2 interceptions were on plays of over 20 yards, and one of them was just a nice play by Trayvon Diggs.
Oh, but yeah, we're talking about how Steelers get to play Ben DiNucci, or get to play Cooper Rush because Ben DiNucci is getting benched.
Yeah, because he's awful, and the Steelers are going to get a fat win for the Cowboys.
Oh, but I was going to ask this question. Is Zeke not Zeke level great anymore?
Is what?
Is Ezekiel Elliott not Zeke level great anymore?
No, Zeke is still good.
Zeke is so here's my thing with Zeke. Like Zeke's bad this year. I think the injuries to the offensive line doesn't help. He also didn't get a whole lot of carries because Dak Prescott was tearing it up. But it's just proving the point that you don't need running backs to be successful. In terms of like, okay, so like Zeke's not making that much of a difference. Why not move off of him? I'm saying the Cowboys should just tank, go all in on the tank.
I don't know. I definitely think the offensive line has hurt Zeke, and I think what also hurt Zeke, especially in the last couple of weeks, because I mean he played okay in the first part of the season, but as soon as Dak Prescott went down, defenses don't need to really plan for DiNucci and Cooper Rush. They can load the box.
Exactly. If you take Zeke out of it, you take the whole team out of it.
Oh yeah, you just load the box against them, and DiNucci's not going to burn your team if you just load the box and stop Zeke. As soon as the team becomes
right.
functional, Zeke is Zeke. Is really any team.
Yeah.
So Monday Night Football was the Bucks versus the Giants.
I wanted the Giants to win so bad.
Oh, I did too. I thought it was pass interference.
Tom Brady saw the ghost of Eli Manning. I swear to God.
Yeah.
Well, what matters is the Bucks did get a win. They did great, but Tom Brady was really on the stretch. I believe Tampa, if not the second best team in the NFC right now. So it's very. I tell you what, they just got playmakers all over the place. Like they just got. Like in close games like that, you need your playmakers to be playmakers, and they have those guys, obviously, on the offensive side of the ball. But then we look at the defense.
Whack.
That is whack. It's not looking too hot.
Anyway, the Bucks should trade Mike Evans. They should have traded Mike Evans.
Oh, you think so?
Oh, yeah. Tom Brady doesn't throw to Mike Evans if Chris Godwin is playing. And now with Antonio Brown coming in, Mike Evans is going to get nothing there.
Well, the thing with Mike Evans is Mike Evans just gets a lot of red zone targets. But the thing is, it doesn't bother Mike Evans, which is just such a weird thing. You have an all-pro caliber talent of a wide receiver, Mike Evans. The guy just wants to win football games, and he is just like he's the most targeted receiver in the red zone, which he should. He's a gigantic. He's a freak athlete with freak size. So he's just one of those athletes that can do that. And honestly, if that's his role on the team, that'll be perfect for the Bucks. And that's assuming the Antonio Brown thing works out for everybody.
I hope Antonio Brown does well. I'm curious to see if he's going to last the whole season, right? And what it's going to look like. I know he's living with Tom Brady, so
they're already got their little chemistry on there.
Yeah. But I don't know. I thought it was interesting that the Giants are competing so hard. Yeah, just falling short.
Yeah, they're not as bad as everyone makes them out to be. They're just missing a few key players that could really put them over the top. They're just they're just lacking firepower because they have talent on that football team.
Yeah, I think they could definitely win their division if they get it in gear.
Well, I don't think they can, but imagine if Saquon was on the Giants right now.
Right? That would have been a difference maker last night.
I think it would have been. I think it would have been a difference maker against the Eagles. It would have been a difference maker against the Cowboys. So, you lose players like that sucks. Now, the fact of the matter is they need to start drafting better because their tackle that they drafted, Isaiah Wilson, is not very good. Daniel Jones is I don't want to put all the blame on him, but he's not looking great. He's kind of looking
horrible.
He's kind of reminds me of Ryan Leaf. He turns the ball over a lot.
It's fair. It's a good comparison.
So, quick comparison. Why Mike Evans should be traded in games that Chris Godwin played in. This is how many reception yards Mike Evans had: 2, 10, 37, 40. In those games, he was targeted only one time. In only one of the games, he was targeted more than 4 times. And in only one of those games, only 2 of those games, he had a red zone target.
How many touchdowns does he have
in those games?
How many does he have total?
Oh, total?
Just total.
6.
And he's the most targeted receiver in the red zone. I don't think you trade Mike Evans. Not this year, at least. No,
I personally wouldn't trade him. But
no,
I can see why you make that.
If he can be a red zone target, oh my gosh, that'd be perfect. Just have him, and he seems to accept his role fine. He's fine with all the weapons that are there, and it's been expressed by both Godwin and Evans that they don't want to outplay, they don't want to outshine each other. They just want to win football games, And Brady just has that element about him where it's just kind of the Patriot way, just do your job. And if Evans' job is to set things up for Chris Godwin to get open, or Antonio Brown or Gronk, and then Mike Evans can get a touchdown catch because he can just get that 50-50 ball. I think that's a pretty nice asset to have.
I don't know. I mean, he is getting an okay amount of targets, but Chris Godwin has only played in 4 games this year and has only 1 less red zone target than Mike Evans.
Well, and the thing is look who his quarterback is too. I mean, we know all about Tom Brady. He finds a way, like he's making Scotty Miller look good, and the Bucs have a really, really good running attack.
I just think though Tom Brady wants to incorporate Antonio Brown as a wide receiver 1. I think if I don't know if it'll work out, but I presume Tom Brady's gonna throw the ball a lot to Antonio Brown. I can see Mike Evans continue to average 2 or 3 targets a game at most here. And then why would you pay a guy wide receiver 1 money if he's averaging 2 or 3 targets a game?
Yeah, but the thing is, the thing is, though, is like we're all talking about is if Antonio Brown's a guaranteed thing. He may not even last the full season. And obviously, Chris Godwin's health is a question for concern this year. So, and I get it, you don't want to overpay for the guy, but for these 2 years while you have Tom Brady and you're just going for Super Bowls, keep Mike Evans there. And then after, when you need to rebuild, then yeah, get rid of that contract or let him walk.
That's true, and I'm really hoping Antonio Brown doesn't work out, so they probably should keep him on for now.
I actually can't really make a prediction on Antonio Brown because I thought it was going to work with New England, and it didn't.
It did for 1 game.
It did for 1 game, and he looked really good in that 1 game.
Bruce Arians has said in the past that he doesn't like Antonio Brown, but a couple months ago he straight up said, "I don't want Antonio Brown in my locker room." And
right, yeah, I wonder who swayed his decision.
Yeah, I wonder what quarterback batted his eyes at Bruce Arians.
Weird.
Interesting. Yeah. Oh, you want to get into next week's predictions? Or this week's predictions?
I'm down.
Do pick-ems.
Perfect.
So let's start out with Thursday night. Packers at 49ers. I think this is going to be an interesting game. I know the Niners whooped them both times last year. We faced them. They're missing G and Kittle and Mozart, and Ayuk will be their top receiver. So they're missing a lot of pieces. And Packers will be missing all the running backs. So I don't know. So they're missing a lot of pieces. So I don't know.
Can you guys hear me? Oh, sorry.
You're good. You're good.
Okay.
I can hear you.
Can I have you? Oh, you go first.
No, what were you gonna say? No.
Oh, I was gonna say. So, like, I'm on my laptop right now, and every time I try and go to like my dock, it like cuts off the audio. So if I like say the team I'm picking, could you read my predictions?
Yeah, we gotcha.
Okay, sorry. Continue, Ben, with your prediction.
All right, so this is going to be a different Niners team than we saw last year. They're banged up, missing their best players. I think the Packers are going to rebound from the divisional loss. Aaron Rodgers is going to throw the ball a lot, obviously missing our top 3 running backs. I have the Packers still winning it 35-21. Tunyon's going to get at least a touchdown or 2. It's going to be a good game.
Should I start Tunyon in fantasy this week?
Who else do you have?
Noah Fant.
I mean, I definitely could see Tunyon getting a lot of targets this week, especially with Jamal Adams and all those guys. I know they were running backs, but Jamal Williams and Aaron Jones have been some of our most targeted receivers. And that's no fan has. I don't know who Denver's playing, but I would consider starting Tunyon this week.
All right. Noah, your score is 31-24.
Yes, I think Green Bay bounces back. This is a really beat up 49ers football team, and I think their season's pretty much done. Nick Mullins isn't terrible by any stretch of the words. I think I'll have a couple of moments. The biggest thing for me that's going to keep San Francisco in this football game is they play really physical. Like, they will punch you in the mouth, and they're going to get to you. And I worry about Green Bay's running attack. I understand that San Francisco's down to, like, their third-string running back or some weird bullshit like that. But Green Bay's not a very good run defense. I think that'll keep them in the game, but I do think Green Bay has enough to win that football game easily. And then the Niners season will pretty much be done.
There, nice. So I have Green Bay also winning, but I don't think it's going to be close because they're without other players. I think it's going to be 36-22. And I think the Packers are going to look great. Aaron Rodgers is going to have a comeback game to try to re-add himself to the MVP race. I don't think he's quite going to make it, but he's going to have a great game. And Packers are going to be moving on. We're going to forget about the loss last week, and, we're going to revisit the loss in the playoffs. So it's going to be a fun one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sunday Night Football is a battle of the oldest quarterbacks in the league.
Hell yeah, it's a division.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. It's Saints-Bucks. So I have the Buccaneers winning 28-14. I don't know what's the status with Mike Thomas this week. Emmanuel Sanders is still going to be out. I just don't think the Saints looked all that great last week against the Bears, of all people. And so I think the Bucs are going to be playing well, and I think the Bucs are going to get the victory and keep it moving towards winning the division.
So I actually have the opposite prediction. I know Saints struggled against the Bears last week, but you know who else struggled against the Bears?
The Jazz. Oh.
No, what?
What?
The Bucs. Remember the Bucs lost to the Bears a couple weeks ago?
Oh, yeah.
I think with a divisional game, especially a divisional game this close, you really can't count one team out of the other. I think hopefully Michael Thomas will play, and if he does play, the Saints are going to be able to clutch out a win here. It's going to be 29-27. Tom Brady does not he still gets Eli Manning shudders, and he then throws a pick.
Pennsylvania now.
What was my score for that game?
Your score is 28-24.
Yes. So obviously we saw in the first game, first debut with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This is a different Tampa team. This is a different New Orleans team. Tampa's at home now. Divisional games always go to the team that the advantage to the other team that lost the first matchup. Brady seems to be figuring out his weapons. I think it'll be interesting to see how they use Antonio Brown. I don't think the Saints defense has been all that great. I think they're going to be able to run the ball effectively against New Orleans. Drew Brees is looking a lot better, so I'm not going to rule him out. That's why it'll be a really close game, but I'll give Tom Brady the edge in this one.
All right. Our next game is Monday Night Football.
Oh, God.
Maybe it will get flexed, maybe not. We'll see.
Monday night games can't get flexed.
They can't?
They cannot, no.
Oh, my gosh. This is going to be a horrible game, but it's going to be the Patriots at the Jets.
Oh, God.
Please.
Ew.
No, your score is 20-13.
Yes, the Patriots are going to hit rock bottom. I think their team is going to respond poorly after the comments made by Bill Belichick. I think there's going to be a little bit of sour grapes with Stephon Gilmore wanting to get traded. Cam Newton has not been playing great now. I whiffed on that prediction early in the year, and I'm open to admitting when I'm wrong. I think this just seems like a trap game for New England on the road. And I don't know. I really have no reason for the Jets winning because they are horrendous. But I just think it's just the demise of the Patriots. There's a lot of things overshadowing that team right now. And I think it's going to be too much to overcome, and they'll lose to the freaking Jets.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. I also have the Jets getting the victory. They're not doing horrible. I mean, the Jets are the worst team in football. But what's a win going to do to cost them the first pick? Hopefully nothing.
Like, it's hard to go 0-16, and if the Jets are going to win one game, this feels like the game to me.
Exactly. Especially with the way Bill Belichick's acting.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, I don't think their team's going to respond very well to that. I just don't. I think there is some 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 like kinks in the armor of Bill Belichick, and I think teams are now not afraid of him as much, and now it's like, well, hey, you're not this godly coach that everyone makes you out to be. Now, obviously, I will never discredit the greatness of Bill Belichick, but Stephon Gilmore, like I said, might have sour grapes. It just doesn't feel right for the Patriots.
Right. It's kind of scary.
I think it's funny. I love it.
Oh, I do too. I think it's funny too. It's going to be a rough game.
It's going to be ugly as fuck. A lot of
turnovers. It's going to be an ugly game. It's going to be an ugly game. Jets are just going to prevail, though. I got them winning 14-10. Then giving the game-winning touchdown.
Nice. So, Cam Newton, since returning from COVID, I saw this stat, and I had to keep it. So, since returning, he's had 0 touchdown passes.
Nice.
5 interceptions.
Nice.
3 fumbles.
Nice.
He's been sacked 7 times.
Nice.
And hasn't won a game in 3 games.
Oh.
Man, I've seen so much stuff on Twitter, too, about Patriots fans. Like, I'm done. I'm over this. And they're all leaving. All the bandwagoners are leaving Patriots Village.
I'm noticing that, too. Everybody's jumping on other bandwagons and is wielding out the real Patriots fans. And people are like, I'm done with sports for the year. I can't handle this football season. We're so bad.
Not trying to call anybody out, but...
No. It just can't do it. All my teams are bad.
I know. You win 6 Super Bowls, and it's like, oh, I can't handle one bad year.
Oh, man. Now I all of a sudden have insulin problems. Oh,
man. Damn.
Wow. Don't worry. He won't listen to it anyways.
Damn.
But, yeah, Monday Night Football will be one to skip if you want to. If you're going to miss any game this year, you might want to tune in for the last minute to see the Jets win.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe
this is a good game to skip. What was that, Ben?
Oh, I said, yeah, maybe I'll be bored and tune into it.
Yeah, there you go. Next is your game, Ben.
Oh boy. I normally would pick the Packers game, but obviously they're playing on Thursday night. So I picked what I think could be a sneaky good game. Titans-Bears. Bears offense has been struggling recently. The Titans offense obviously has had a couple rough games, but I think they're going to bounce back. I think Derrick Henry's going to have a monster game. I think A.J. Brown's going to have another monster game. I have the Titans winning 28-18. I think the Bears will get some garbage time points. It's really going to look like a Titans ball game all game, though.
Fair. I think the Titans are kind of hitting a wall at the moment. And I think that the moment that their wall hits its climax is going to be in this Bears game against the Bears. The Bears keep finding ways to be better football teams than them. Look at the Buccaneers. And so I think the Bears are going to strangely win this one. It's not going to be a great game. It's kind of going to be a rough and long game, just like the Chicago game. But this time, I think the Bears are going to clinch it out with Mitch Trubisky coming into the fourth quarter. And it's going to be 17-12. Mitch Trubisky for the walk-off win.
Damn.
Noah, your score is 24-21.
Yeah, I actually am on kind of the same boat as you. Chicago is hella competitive in every game they've been in this year. That has a lot to do with their defense. I think that there's been a formula to beat Tennessee, slow down Derrick Henry, play a little bit deeper and take away the play action away from Ryan Tannehill, and you can get them beat. And if there's a defense that I can trust to keep that going, I will trust the Chicago Bears defense. So I think they'll struggle offensively. They'll give Nick Foles just enough chances to eke out a win at home. And they did lose to New Orleans, but they looked like it was a really close game. Could have went either way. They got to feel pretty good about that. So,
yeah, that's true. Your game is next, Noah.
Yes, I had the Ravens taking on the Colts. Another game that I think could be sneaky good. Lamar Jackson is not immortal. Lamar Jackson is not feared anymore. Mike Tomlin said it best. We don't fear him. We just need to force him to throw the football. I thought he would improve in that aspect in his game. I was wrong. I think that the only really upside thing about Baltimore right now is their defense. Their defense is very, very good. And I think that'll be just enough against Phillip Rivers. I think they're going to force some turnovers, which is it's going to cost him. I don't think Lamar Jackson's going to play great against a really underrated Colts defense. I believe what was my score for that game?
Your score for that game is 27-21 Baltimore.
Yes, I think turnovers by Phillip Rivers will hurt the Colts. But I wouldn't be surprised if the Colts look like overall like the better team throughout.
Fair. Defense wins, and that's who I have winning this one. I think the Colts defense being the number one ranked defense right now, I believe. Defense is firing on all cylinders. Colts are looking good. Phillip Rivers is finally getting his turnovers under control. And so I have the Colts winning 28-24. I think it'll be close. I could honestly very easily see it going either way. But I think especially with Marquise Brown being upset, they're going to try to give him the ball a lot more. And I think that Lamar is going to, I don't want to say cause some problems for the Ravens, but I think if they try to throw too much, I think that it's the Colts ball game to win.
Can I ask you guys something? Am I just overreacting, or is Lamar Jackson still in your guys' eyes a top 10 QB?
Try that again.
Oh, I said, am I just overreacting, or can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, am I overreacting, or do you guys still view Lamar Jackson as a top 10 QB?
I do not view him as a top 10 at the moment. Really, ever since that Kansas City game, he just keeps slipping, in my opinion.
And, and not saying, I called it, but, I said that, ever since Kansas City, I was like, he hasn't been looking the same. And my just big issue, you can win against really bad teams, but where Patrick Mahomes, Tom Brady, Ben Roethlisberger, Drew Brees, Aaron Rodgers, should I keep going with all the great quarterbacks we have in our league right now? What do you do when the lights are turned on? What do you do? That's my biggest criticism of Dak and, Jimmy Garoppolo, guys who are fringe top 10 guy. Well, Dak Prescott is a top 10 QB in my opinion. But those are the things that separate those guys. And Lamar Jackson, for being an MVP, I want to see improvement, and I am not seeing that. And now people are starting to figure out the running style of Lamar, and now they're forcing turnovers. Right. Ben, is he still a top 10 QB in your eyes?
Well, I was kind of trying to find a list of quarterbacks because I still think Lamar could potentially be in the top 10, maybe like a 9 or 10, just because I think once you get the really good ones out of the way, it's kind of a little bit, there's kind of a gray area of quarterbacks. You're your Matt Ryan, Matt Stafford's, are they good? Sometimes, I think he has the potential to be, but I think this year he did not look good against the Steelers defense, and I know they do have a little bit easier schedule the rest of the year, but I don't know. Yeah. Maybe.
Because in my eyes right now, the ones that I think are definitely better than Lamar, right now, let's see, you got Patrick Mahomes. I think Tom Brady's better. Deshaun Watson, Russell Wilson, obviously. Dak Prescott. He's not my top 5, but Dak Prescott. Arm talent-wise, Carson Wentz is better. I personally have always liked Matt Stafford. That's always just been my thing. Aaron Rodgers is obviously better. Aaron Rodgers is still a top 5 QB in the NFL, and I got a lot of pushback from a lot of people when I said that he was still top 5. Everyone said he was washed up and old, and I'm like, I don't know if we're watching the same Aaron Rodgers, but it's whatever.
Right.
Like, we clearly were not watching the same Aaron Rodgers, but it's whatever. And then, I mean, fringe top 10. If I really, sat down and made a list, I feel like I would maybe have him at 10, not maybe 9 or 10, but it's not as high because I thought he was a top 5 QB going into this year, and he is well beyond disappointed at this point. And it wouldn't be as bad if he wasn't the league reigning MVP, winning it over Russell Wilson last year.
Right. And I'd agree with that wholeheartedly, I think.
Yeah. And no disrespect to Lamar. The guy's still super talented. And he's still insanely young. So I'm not going to sit there and be like, oh, he's done. He's washed up. No, he's just not. He's hit a wall. He's facing adversity. How are you going to recover from that? That's where the greats come out. That's where, what's that saying? What's the, bear with me, but it's like the, when you put pressure on something, it either get dust or it turns into a diamond or something. You know what I mean? Whatever that saying is. But this is the chance for Lamar to respond against a really good team. If he plays well, then he's got me back. Because if he responds well and beats a really good Indianapolis team, then we're talking. Then it's like, yeah, Baltimore can still do something. But as of right now, Pittsburgh's better. Kansas City's a better football team. I think Tennessee could go in and beat them. I think the Colts can go in and beat them. They may not beat them on Sunday, but I think they could outright beat them in the right circumstance. I think the Bills would have a shot at beating them. So they're not the surefire Super Bowl favorites that I thought they were going to be before the year started.
Yeah, I say that. What I think too. Ben, what was your score for that one? Ravens Colts.
One second. I think it was. I had the Baltimore winning 27-21.
All right.
State. They let me twice.
So next here, my chosen game after the Broncos clutch a victory against a team coming from behind, and the Chargers blowing the lead. Now we get to compete against the biggest lead blowers in the nation, the Atlanta Falcons. And I'm excited about this game, and I think the Broncos are going to win a close one, 28-26. We're going to be behind in the third quarter. Us Broncos fans are going to freak out. We're going to be like, oh no, is Drew Lock not our quarterback? Gosh, this is freaky. And we're going to come back and win it and be like, all right, we're 4-4. We're looking great. We have a 50-50 season right now. And it's just going to be a great day to be a Broncos fan.
Well, Duncan, for your sake, I hope you're right. Drew Lock is so weird to me because, the talent is obviously there. That was evident in the second half against the Chargers. And I'm not going to ridicule Drew Lock a whole lot for how he played in the game because correct me if I'm wrong, Duncan, but the game against the Chargers was that his second or third game back from injury.
It was his second game back.
Oh, okay. So I'm not going to sit there and just rip Drew Lock to shreds because he did not play good in the game before, wasn't really good in the first half and, for the first half of the third quarter. But coming off of injury, that's always tough. But obviously he started to find his stride against the Chargers defense that has talent. The Chargers we've talked about, they're a good football team. They just don't have the record to show for it. And it sucks, but they may have to start moving on from Anthony Lynn. I love Anthony Lynn. I think he's a great leader, but sometimes that doesn't mean you're a great head coach. Sorry. Right. But so it's weird to me. So I don't know what kind of Drew Lock we're getting. If we're getting a Drew Lock that I know what we're capable of, oh yeah, they can win that football game. But I think Atlanta might start to find their stride. They have something to build off of in that Carolina game. The offense for Atlanta has never been the issue. It's just their defense and holding leads, and that mainly has to do with their defense. And ultimately it comes down to play calling, but that was when Dan Quinn was there when they were blowing those leads. So I do think the Falcons are going to win this football game. What do I have for that score again?
You have 30-20.
Okay. I have a 10-point lead, but I could see it being a little bit I could see it being closer. And if Drew Lock plays well, like that game could be interesting. So, I will give the Falcons the nod just because I think they'll have too much offensive firepower. Julio's starting to look like his old self again, so that's going to be very interesting. Todd Gurley's really coming into his own, which I'm happy for him. I really am. So I'm glad that he's starting to find his rhythm in Atlanta. It's a bummer he couldn't do that with the Rams, but, it is what it is. I have no sour grapes about it. I'm glad we got rid of him. It just made more sense for the team. So, but I could see this being closer. I could see the Broncos pulling it off. So is it in Mile High or is it in Atlanta?
In Atlanta.
Okay, if it was in Denver, I would maybe give the Broncos the nod because weird shit happens in Denver.
That's true. That is true.
Weird stuff happens, but I'll give the Falcons the nod for now. But I'm very bipolar about this prediction.
Ben, I like your score.
Yeah, I think the Falcons, they're just going to do it to themselves again. They're going to go out, they're going to score in all three of their first possessions. Julio Jones is going to have like 100 yards in the first half, and then they're going to shoot themselves in the foot. And Drew Lock's going to march him down the field one more time, and is going to get the game-winning touchdown.
Yay!
31-25 Broncos. The Falcons falcon themselves again.
That's a lot.
The swag that the swag that Drew Lock brings, I am all for it.
Yes, you see him after the game when he beat the Chargers last week? He was sitting there dancing. It was like, come on, probably rapping another song.
I love it.
And swag, he's got the swagger to be the best quarterback of all time. It's just, does he have the skill to back it up?
Not yet, but I still have a lot of high hopes for Drew Lock.
I hope he does well as well.
There is clearly something there. He has shown easily more than what you guys had with Paxton Lynch, Brock Osweiler,
Trevor Siemian.
Like, he's more talented than all those guys. So
Jay Cutler, Kyle Orton.
Cutler. I hate to say it, but Tim Tebow. Because I love Tim Tebow.
I don't know if Drew Lock is necessarily better than Tim Tebow yet.
Oh, he definitely is better than Tim Tebow. Tim Tebow is not that good. Again, love Tim Tebow. If you hate Tim Tebow, you are literally the worst human beings alive. I'm not even joking. I'm sorry if I offend any. Actually, I'm not sorry because there's really no reason to not like Tim Tebow. So, sorry, not sorry. But Tim Tebow was not a good quarterback, but the bastard could fucking win games. Like, that's just how he was. Like, it was just weird. Like, he just won football games. He does it in the ugliest and the weirdest ways. But I will never ridicule results. But talent-wise, Drew Lock is easily better than Tim Tebow.
I like it. Moving on to our final game of the week. Could be a very fun one. Seattle at Buffalo. Seattle coming off a victory. Buffalo coming off a victory because of Cam Newton. I have a very high-scoring game for the Seahawks, 42-24. That offense is firing on all cylinders. DK Metcalf is a star. Russell Wilson is the MVP. The Seahawks are getting their defense back. Jamal Adams is coming back. They got Carlos Dunlap coming back in. The team's going to be great. They're in a great mood. They're in a great place. The Niners just got, half their team swept out from under them again. They're in control of their division. They're in control of their fate. They're the number one seed in the NFC. And they're going to continue at 42-24, beating the Bills because the Bills just aren't as good as we all thought they were in the beginning of the season.
All right, everybody. This is the upset alert of the week.
Oh, my God, Ben, I just saw that.
This is going to be the upset. Last week, we had a couple. I think this week, Seattle's going to get really close. It's going to be a high-scoring game. but Josh Allen is going to run it down the field himself on a last-second drive, and he is going to beat the Seattle Seahawks' horrible defense. The Bills are going to win this game 38-31.
So here's my thing. The Seattle defense is not good that we've seen to this point, but they're going to get better this week. They're going to have Jamal Adams back. They're going to get Carlos Dunlap in his first game. So they're going to have something of a pass rush at the very least. I think we have yet to see the best of Seattle. So for that reason, I think they're the best team in the NFL. We have
I think we've seen the best of Pittsburgh, the best of Kansas City. We've seen the best of what Tampa can do. But I don't even think we've really seen a fully healthy, when they're at their best, Seattle Seahawks football team. And Russell Wilson still has them at 7-1 with all the injuries they have going on. And now they're going to get Chris Carson back. They're going to have all their good defensive players back. DK Metcalf is turning into a top 5 receiver before our very eyes, and I don't think people really fully fathom it. We're all saying oh yeah, DK's really good, but are people kind of starting to realize this guy's looking like this guy, DK Metcalf, is a top 5 receiver in football right now, and talent-wise, the sky's the limit for this guy. So they're clicking on all cylinders right now. I just don't think the Bills are just going to be able to match up with their swagger. I think the defense is going to be fired up. They're going to be excited to have all their guys back. Russell Wilson's just going to be Russell Wilson. And I'm pretty sure I have a 10-point victory for Seattle, don't I?
Yeah, 37-27.
37-27. I think the Bills will get points because I think Josh Allen, the Bills still have firepower weapons, but I think now, and I talked about this with defenses, we're not seeing defenses like the 85 Bears, the 2000 Ravens, Tony Dungy's Tampa 2s. We're not seeing those anymore. It now comes down to the question with defenses. Can I trust my defense? And here's the thing, and I'll even say this for you guys with the Packers, Ben. Everyone wants to rip on the Packers defensively, but when it comes down to it, if I ask you this question, Ben, do you trust the Packers to make a stop to give Aaron Rodgers the ball?
See, in some situations, I would be totally comfortable with that. What really kills the defense is this last week, I knew they wouldn't be able to stop Dalvin Cook. But
here's the thing that I'll say about Minnesota. Everyone's hyping up Minnesota, but do people realize that they were off their bye week? They had 2 weeks to prepare for the Green Bay Packers. And who did the Packers play the week before?
Texans.
Okay. Okay. Not a very good team. It would have been better if they were playing a good team. But no, the Vikings are coming off their bye, divisional game, and I've talked about the advantage that the team that lost the first time has. But without overthinking it, because obviously it's if they run the ball, don't even think about that. Ben, do you trust the Packers defense to make stops to give Aaron Rodgers the ball back to win games? Just without thinking.
Yes.
Perfect. Then that is today's NFL defense. And that's a big thing with Kansas City even last year. When it comes down to it, do I trust the talent that because the Packers have weapons or have defensive talent all over the place that cannot be denied. They have the front runner, if not the second runner-up for Defensive Player of the Year, Jair Alexander. He is sensational. They have a very good pass rush with the Smith brothers and Kenny Clark. That's his name, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, Kenny Clark. So, in Kansas City, I trust the talent that Kansas City has enough to just make enough stops to give Patrick Mahomes the ball. Because if you have an elite offense and elite quarterback, you got it in the bag. So that's how I'm viewing Seattle. Do I trust with the talent that they have? Do I trust them to make enough stops to win the game for Russell Wilson, to give Russell Wilson a chance? The answer is yes. And I think that's the question we all have to kind of when we're looking at these really good teams. Obviously, there's some dominant defense like Pittsburgh, but everyone's saying, they've been getting exposed. For me, it doesn't matter. Do I still trust that defense? Absolutely. It's just, and you guys can agree that we are just seeing so much NFL talent on the offensive side of the ball that it's just impossible to hold teams to under 20 points, or it's just not the same type of football. And for that reason, with people, shitting on Green Bay after this week, I still think Green Bay is a legit Super Bowl contender for that reason alone. They have Aaron Rodgers. I love their offense when they're healthy, and I trust their defense to make enough stops.
I like that.
So don't rule out the Packers, ladies and gentlemen. I'm still high on the Packers.
Hell yeah.
I have to make
I'm
up.
high on the Packers offense.
I was gonna say I shat on them a lot last year, but you know what? I think they're the real deal. Matt LaFleur is a top 5 coach in football. Aaron Rodgers is an MVP contender. They're a good football team. Do I think they're better than Tampa and Seattle today? No. But I tell you what, if Tampa slips up and Green Bay gets that number 2 seed, and all of a sudden the Tampa has to go to Green Bay in the snow. Now, regardless, Tom Brady is really great in the cold, but I'd be hard pressed to give I'd be hard pressed to not give Green Bay the advantage in Lambeau. Like, you know, cute Vikings fans, you can have your cute little win against Green Bay. It'll be the highlight of your season.
Well, that was a hell of a way to end the episode if I've ever seen it.
Of course, Ben.
It's just been bugging me. I've been listening like sports radio, and everyone's just like shitting on Green Bay, and it's like, oh, they don't have enough there. Yes, they do. They absolutely do. Just don't overthink it. Like, yeah, could they use another weapon for Aaron Rodgers? Yes. Has that bothered Aaron Rodgers up to this point? No. Aaron Rodgers is making Valdez-Scantling look good. He's won games without Devontae Adams. Robert Tunyon's all of it. Like, we're now asking the question, should I start Robert Tunyon in fantasy this week? Yeah, because he's pretty good.
Plus, Lazard is coming back soon.
And I think Lazard is a really good deep threat number 2.
Yeah.
Like, the only concern I have for Green Bay is their run defense. Like, that's it. All right, that is the end of my rant for the Packers.
All right, well, I guess that's the end of this episode.
Yeah.
Enjoyed having you guys on this tough week. I know it was hard to do this week since, you know, we were zooming in and stuff.
Yeah, I was going to say, I had to get all my words in because I was inactive for like half the episode.
That's fair. I know we had some connection issues, but I'm glad you two showed up for this week's episode.
Yeah.
There's an election going on.
There is.
Either way you guys vote, I still like you guys. You're still my friends.
Yes, just because we disagree on politics, if you disagree with whatever, we can still be friends. It's not against the law.
Exactly, because today was the most important day of the NFL season. Not because it's the election day, but because it was the NFL trade deadline.
Yes.
And nothing happened, so we're all good. All our teams are okay teams.
Yes, sir.
We're having a good one. For the Sci Squad podcast, I'm Duncan.
I'm Noah.
Typically, Brendan does the last little.
I know. I was like thinking like this is gonna be awkward.
Yeah, Brendan usually does something stupid. Then
Brendan has a weak ass nose. Or no, wait. What was he? Insulin. I was thinking nasal. What the fuck? Okay, that's the way we can end it.
We'll see you next week.
All right. Goodbye, everyone.